Good afternoon, everybody. Very excited today to have Camille and Jenna on, the founders of Holi Scoops, an amazing for you, great tasting ice cream. Ladies, thanks for coming on today. My name is Adam, as you all know, the founder of CanDo, maker of Keto Crisp, the not so great host of a CanDo podcast. But we are going to have fun today. We got a lot to learn. Jenna, Camille, thanks for coming on today. We're excited to hear more about what you've got going on.
Thank you so much, Adam, for having us. We're excited to be here.
You got it. Can everybody see each other here? Now, I'm doing this on my iPhone. I apologize. Oh, there we go. This may be better. I hope this is recording right. And again, guys, my apologies for not being a computer guy, but we're going to get this done, and here we go. So I want to start out, guys. First of all, please tell me a little bit about your brand, how you got started. I'm going to start there, and I've got some follow-up questions. But we're all three of us are in the food business. Our goal is to help people become better with or without food. We hope it's food is a critical part of what we do for obvious reasons, and what we put into our body is critical to our success. But I want you to tell our listening audience how you guys got started and why, and especially, as it relates to ice cream, because everybody loves ice cream.
It's true. It's very true. So Jen and I met a few years ago, and we kind of just bonded over, well, one, our love for ice cream, but two, we've had a ton of health issues ranging from hormonal imbalances to autoimmune disease, to cancer, to digestive issues. And we've really had to change up our lifestyles and our diets. And then, additionally, I've dealt with, on the mental health side, I've dealt with anxiety and depression. And so when it came to, wanting to just create something that we could enjoy and love and feel great about, we ended up coming up with Holi Scoops, and it's a plant-based product, and it's also keto friendly, no sugar added, and a really important piece of it is that we incorporate adaptogens, which are functional herbs and mushrooms that support function of the mind. And so that's kind of our model is around the mind-body connection, and like the whole being. Holi is short for holistic.
Right. Talk about more, Camille, the holy thing, because I think that's great and such a critical aspect. And Jenna, you can pop in here too with your experience of, all of that. It resonated with me a lot when we did pre-prep for the show. We talked about, the holistic side, and it's mind, body, soul. Talk about more than that, because I think the most important part of our body is our mind and our outlook. And you guys have overcome so much. Just speak on your experience and share with our audience some of the perspective that you have on the holistic side, and we'll get into the brand and how you got started and all that stuff as we go.
Yeah, so I can speak to that. So coming up with the name Holi was very representative. Like Camille said, it's short for holistic. And so for us, diet alone is not enough. It's a critical piece, but it's not enough. And so when we look at the whole being, we see the whole being in as the best way to heal. We can't compartmentalize in terms of healing. And so Camille touched on the mental health and emotional health piece. I'll speak for me. I had what would be considered a very quote unquote clean and perfect diet. But what was missing really for me was the lifestyle piece and the connection between the mind and the body. And so when I learned about adaptogens and really started to make the connection between the mind and the body, and that they don't operate separately, they're very much one cohesive unit. We were really keen on including that including adaptogens in our product, and helping kind of tell that mind body story that's so critical to our physical healing. So the emotional, mental healing was paramount in terms of our physical healing.
Now, when you talk about food, how long did it take, number one, for you to really start feeling all of the great things and feeling better once you change your diet? Now you are an ice cream man, but you eat other foods outside of ice cream, and I want to talk about your love for ice cream, because I think everybody loves ice. But I want you to answer that part. And I'm sorry for being all over the board. How has food really helped you? Speak, Jenna, on your experiences first, and then Camille, we'll get to you. How is you said you had a perfect diet, but it really wasn't working. So what changes did you make?
Yeah. So my diet was very rigid. It would be what any dietitian would tell you to eat, but it was very rigid. And so for me, opening up and being more flexible in terms of all kinds of foods was healing for me. And really reducing, like, I had a lot of stress around food. So the rigidity created stress, which created like imbalances in my body. So hormonal imbalances due to the strictness of it all. So now I'm in a place where I'm much more fluid and open to all kinds of foods. Still prioritizing, macronutrients that are essential for maintaining blood sugar, and minimizing. Camille and I very much are both in the same place in terms of minimizing sugar, which is a key component to our product. But blood sugar and managing blood sugar is a big piece for me. And when we have stable blood sugar, we also have stable emotional state. So it's all interconnected.
Got it. Now, Camille, you want to touch on your experience with your diet and what was your diet like? And then I want to talk about, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I was in and out of the doctor since I was a baby for digestive issues. And, there are all these other health issues I've dealt with, but I was always trying to figure out, like, what is what should be my diet? What can I eat? What can I eat? Can't I eat? And a big obstacle for me was that I see myself as a sugar addict. I would replace my meals with dessert if I could. In college, I lived at Yogurtland. That was my home. And so when I cut out sugar, I felt such a big difference in my body. And I just became used to feeling bloated and being in pain. And then I realized I don't have to do all of that. I don't have to feel bad. So yeah, that sugar was a big change for me.
What was the aha moment, Camille, when you said, I got to cut out sugars? And was it like, how long did it take your body to adjust?
Sadly, it wasn't about my gut. It was when I got cancer, and I knew that, sugar feeds cancer. And in order to take care of myself, I have to prioritize myself, and I have to really heal. And, when you're young and you get diagnosed with that, it kind of scares you, and you just make the necessary changes. And so, funny enough, it helped my gut so much, but it wasn't until that happened that I made changes.
Right. What was the most, and what kind of cancer did you have? And tell me, how are you feeling now?
Yeah,
And
I had thyroid cancer, and I got a surgery right away to remove the tumor. Luckily, I caught it very early, and it's not such an aggressive cancer, so it's easy to deal with. But that means then I'm missing, part of my thyroid, and now I deal with the I went on meds right away. I'm also hypothyroidism. So just kind of finding balance in that and figuring out where my body's most comfortable with the medication.
Great. What is, and Jenna, for you, how did you, I want to back up here, and sorry again for being all over the board, but there's a lot of things. How did you guys find each other? And Jenna, talk about your love for ice cream. I know, again, when we were doing show prep, you talked about this ice cream store that my face immediately popped up. And for those people in the Midwest, it's TCBY. And I think TCBY, I'm not sure how many stores they had. They're out of business now. But as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, I remember TCBY in Yogurtland. So tell me
thousands of stores. Yeah,
thousands. So tell me about your love for ice cream, and just, how did you guys meet, and like, how did the Holi Scoops get started?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'll answer the ice cream question first, then I'll explain how Camille and I. So have always been obsessed with frozen dessert, frozen yogurt, ice cream, all of it. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, and our biggest frozen yogurt place was called TCBY. I went there every single day after school. I think it was, what was it called? Like mountain blackberry was this flavor, or white chocolate mousse. Do you remember that flavor? I can taste it right now. Anyways, TCBY stands for the country's best yogurt. They were in every airport, every mall, everything. And I was obsessed. And the two guys that ran the one by me knew me. I'd always get a little extra. So if you came with me, you knew you were going to get a little extra because they always hooked it up. So yeah, just obsessed from, day one of my life, basically. And then funny enough, we had a little, another frozen yogurt place at my college called Tasty Delight, which other people might know, that was all over New York City. And I was on the Food Network for an episode of that show called Unwrapped with Mark Summers, which is so funny.
Yes.
I was like their best customer, so they asked me to be in this episode.
That's great.
Which haunts me to this day. And then,
what do you mean haunts you? It's great.
It's great. It's great. I get messages, people, when they see it, they're like, hey, did I just see you on Unwrapped? I'm like, oh God. But yes, that was, yeah.
When was that?
That was, oh goodness. Oh, we're getting a call. Sorry.
Okay.
That was 2005. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So,
and then Camille and I met through our mutual friend, Ryan. Camille and I were struggling with similar health issues, and both were obsessed with ice cream desserts. And we're both like searching for a healthy ice cream product we couldn't find. And so our friend was like, you guys should chat. I feel like, there's something here. And then we met for dinner, the three of us. And then we left that meeting being like, great, we're going to do this.
We're like, we have a company. And
we have a company. It was like bizarre.
Literally the next week we were like, oh, like how hard can this be? We're just going to make it on our own. And we took like an $100 Cuisinart and just started like chucking like cauliflower and all these ingredients that we like Googled into the mix. And it was terrible.
But we did that for a minute, really trying to come up with something. Didn't understand that ice cream was like a proper food science. You need solids, liquids, the right ratio. I mean, people go to grad school to understand this stuff, and we were just trying to whip it up in our kitchen.
Right.
Yeah. And then eventually we were like, we need help. We don't know what we're doing.
So tell me about that, because I always love to hear people's stories and how they got started and where they are today, and just share that. I think it's really, really cool, because you guys have put blood, sweat, and tears into this, and to create anything, whether it be a brand, a food product, or whatever, you got to put yourself out there, and you guys have done that, and you know, had success, and you know, being such an early stage, I think you guys have been around for what, only a couple years.
We
10
launched in
months.
August.
So just recently, not even right. So go ahead and talk about that, and you know, what have been some of the most exciting days? Like, when did you? And I know you talked about going to dinner, and you're like, we have a business. And you're in your kitchen whipping out stuff, but when did you say, "Wow, this is really going to work"?
I feel like every day there's a new exciting, there's new exciting news and there's a new obstacle. And you know, you're always putting out fires, but we're used to it now and it's exciting. And I think I had mentioned to you, Adam, like I love achieving things that you know, that are scary at first or that feel like they're tough to achieve. And so this has been that, and it's really cool. We formulated for a long time. We formulated for like 3 years, I'd say, because it was really tough to get the product right given our dietary parameters. And we happened to find an amazing formulator who did the whole vegan line for Ben and Jerry's, and she really helped us along the way. And it wasn't until I had gone to business school, and during those 2 years, we were able to get a little bit of funding through grants and fellowships and some mentors along the way. And that set us up to launch come August of 2021. And so it was, you know, a local LA launch at Erewhon Market, and it was perfect. You know, we were able to get the right feedback and really understand what customers are looking for, love, don't love, and go from there.
Great. Um, Going, you know, getting started with the brand. What was, you know, what you talked about getting grants, going to dinner. What's been the most exciting thing for you? Like, oh my God, this is great. Like I know, like for me, reaching out to the customers and seeing their smile on the face. I'm sure you guys have the similar reaction, but nothing gets me more excited than the customers saying, "Wow, I've tried a lot of bars, and you guys, you got something here." And just the feedback, positive or negative. There's so much food products out there for people to choose, and I'm so grateful and honored that they give us a chance. Tell me about like what excites you, and you know, tell me about that.
On
Go
that
ahead.
note, you know, we're huge keto crisp fans. Like we were eating, like I eat like 2 a day.
I have at least
Thank
one a day.
Right. Thank you, guys.
It's problematic.
Yes, no, there's no problem. We got every
I'm just kidding.
surprise
It's great.
bar.
We love it
No,
here.
no, it's all
Listen,
good.
when we go on our production days, like if Camille picks me up or I pick her up, we always have keto
We're like,
crisp bars for the
keto
ride
crisp?
to our production.
Right,
I'm like, which flavor do you
I love,
want? You want the almond butter or the chocolate peanut butter? And then
I'm an almond butter girl. I love that flavor.
right. Well, I happen to love you guys' vanilla ice cream. I love it. I had bought, you know, when we started talking, I went into Erewhon immediately and tried the product. Now I'm really excited, guys. You know, as I was preparing, I know that the month of July is ice cream month, so we're doing a collaboration with Keto Grisman Ice Cream and the Holi Scoops, and just excited about that. I didn't even realize, just being honest, I didn't even realize that there was a month dedicated to ice cream. I feel like
I don't know if we did either.
right, every month should be you know,
Every month is ice month.
right.
Yeah.
The world is better with ice cream, and the fact that it's got adaptogens and healthy for you, and it tastes great is terrific. Going through the process of building a brand, who was your biggest inspiration or motivation, and who have you leaned on the most for your advice as you go through it? As we all know, being brand founders, every day is not peaches and cream, if you will. You know, there are challenges every day.
I feel like we've been so lucky to have such a strong community around us of just friends, you know, that have experience in the space and friends that we've made from being in the space, we always talk about how this is the most caring, nice, supportive community versus, I mean, like compared to, you know, some other industries out there, like we're friends with a lot of our competitors, which is crazy. And we just had a meeting yesterday with, you know, another vegan ice cream founder, and we were exchanging tips.
Exchanging contacts and
exchanging contacts. We help each other. We share ingredient suppliers. Like that's pretty crazy. And really cool. And I think it's those people that have made a huge difference along the way for us.
You know, you bring up a great point, and I say that all the time, and I say, well, you know, am I sharing too much information? You know, but it is great, you know, and you really learn, like especially when you go to trade shows and you see all these brands, and you really want to help people, because when you're in it, you realize the ups and you realize the challenges, and everybody's going through it. So you really, you know, it's like with life and anything, you got to share experiences, good and bad. So I totally get that. I'm doing that every day. So that's great that you guys
and
do that. Go ahead, Jenna.
I was just going to say, we really look at it like there's enough pie to go around for everybody. And, you know, we have an abundant mindset as opposed to there only can be one of us. We want everyone to win, and we're different, you know, so it's, there's a place for everyone.
I couldn't agree more. And it's, you know, yes, the brands are one thing and the food that we deliver, but it's always about the people and the relationships that you're going to create. I want to circle back to the beginning where you talked about challenges and understanding your gut and knowing that the path that you were on, it doesn't matter what food, but talk to me, or, you know, talk to our listeners about what advice you would give them for somebody struggling with gut health or anxiety or some of the mental things. What, you know, sometimes it can be overwhelming and you feel like you're alone, but realistically, you're not alone. And so many people, you know, need to hear your stories about the challenges and the ups and the downs that you've gone through. Share some advice and some tips that you would share to our listeners out there, because your story and what you both have overcome is remarkable.
Yeah, we were just talking about the mental health piece, and specifically, I was talking to Jenna about kind of my journey with anxiety, and that, you know, I wanted to talk a little more. I'd like to start talking a little more publicly, because it's normally just a conversation with my friends, and I think it's so nice to, I think the more people that open up about it and talk about it, the less alone everyone else will feel, and know that it's so normal. There's no person who hasn't experienced even a little bit of anxiety. So
of course, we're all have.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, for me, it's been a journey since high school with panic disorder. And, you know, I've gone through periods where I'm constantly having panic attacks, and the fears are just rooted in having a panic attack. It's not actually like you know, I'm not being chased after. It's just like in my head, I'm constantly now afraid of the panic attack.
Right.
And so it's been a crazy journey, and I'm still dealing with it. But I think the more you talk about it and the more we normalize it, the less of a fear it will be. Because then if I have a panic attack right now, you know, that's normal, and who cares? And so I shouldn't be afraid of it.
No, you shouldn't. And you should be applauded, because it's not easy to come out and share that and be vulnerable, because people are afraid when you're vulnerable for whatever reason that you show signs of weakness. But weakness is being strong, showing your weakness and being willing to improve and say, listen, I'm going to throw myself out there. I'm not alone. And we're all in this together. And you know, it's really great. So really, Camille, thank you. And Jenna, we were talking yesterday and how excited I was and how proud I am of you for sharing your story, because it's not easy to be out there and, you know, share your story and put yourself out there. But you have an incredible story to share. And the more that you can tell, the better you, like I said before we started taping, if you can help just one person, you know, then we've done what we want to do. So
Yeah.
Jenna, tell me your experience and your challenges growing up, thinking that you had to be a certain way and you maybe put pressure on yourself. I'm gonna let you talk. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I have struggled with depression most of my life. In my more currently anxiety, I never really experienced anxiety till maybe the past 5 years. But depression definitely. And it's interesting, now that I've like studied this, and I'm such a student of emotions, of life. Depression is really like something frozen, right? It's frozen in time, and it's a being stuck in the past.
Yeah.
And I was on antidepressants for, I want to say, 10 years, which really did change my life. And so I have much respect for that. However, I hit a point where I felt like I wasn't able to, I wanted to dethaw whatever I felt like I was, I guess, numbing in a sense.
Yeah.
And there was like gold in that I needed to explore. And so I came off antidepressants, I would say, I guess it's been about 5 years now. And the past 5 years have been a deep journey of reconnection to myself, reconnection. I think I was sharing with you yesterday, the day before. I was very disconnected from my body. I was very much operating like head is up here, body's down here. They don't interact.
Yeah.
And was very, like I said before, very strict, very rigid, very, very strict around my bedtime, like obsessed with schedules. If you would ask Camille today if I'm like that,
The least.
but I'm like not even close to that anymore. But I was
So
obsessed with this element of perfection that I've worked really, really hard on for many, many years. And so my healing has been about connecting to my heart, my feelings, and being with those hard moments, as opposed to being like, I need to shut out the sad, or I need to shut out the fear. I need to, like, I'm just with it. And I ask myself questions. I'm like, okay, like, what's going on? Oh, you feel scared. Okay, let's be with that.
yeah.
As opposed to like needing to disassociate from that. Like I'm only okay if I'm happy, or I'm only okay if I'm feeling good. Like, no, actually, like I have embraced the whole self, and really comfortable with that,
Yeah.
where I think for a really long time I had shame around that, or had shame around any darkness at all. And now I'm like, oh, that's the whole me, right? I'm a lot more than just a happy moment.
You know,
Yeah. What was that?
I love that, because there's so many people, we all go through that. And you have to be comfortable in your own skin, and you have to accept who you are. And I just was on a call with a PR company, and I always said, you got to be comfortable in your own skin, and you just have to accept who you are. And if people love you, that's great. And if they don't, you're doing the best you can. And there's you set your own bar. And I
Yeah.
love that you came out and you're sharing these stories, because 9 out of 10 people have gone through the same things that you've gone through, and the same things that I've gone through. And listen, we're all people at the end of the day with hearts. Nobody's perfect, but we all have a special gift. Even if you're a jerky person, that jerky person is special because they taught you that, hey, I don't want to be like this. And they gave you that gift. And so that's really awesome, Jenna and Camille, that you're able to share that and just be in the moment. Like, and Jenna, you gotta feel much better about things, that you don't have to live up to a certain extent. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So I'm also, one other thing I wanted to share is, I'm a very faith-based person. And so my life is working when I'm in faith and trust, and my life is not working when I am gripping and somehow thinking like I'm in control. I think as I become more comfortable with like releasing my grip and releasing control, I can take a deep sigh.
No, go.
No, I'm just
Do it.
saying, like I
Yeah.
can take a deep. I can breathe when there's an element of surrender in my life. When I am, trying to make things happen, is honestly, it's quite counterproductive.
Right. Because your
And
grip,
so, like, there's been a lot of scenarios where we thought something was going to happen, and then it didn't happen, and maybe me 5 years ago would, and I'm not saying like I'm immune to feeling sad about those things, because
yeah.
that obviously happens, but I just like, I turn it over to the universe or whatever, higher power, and I'm like, all right, it wasn't meant for us in this
That
moment.
investor doesn't invest, and we're like, well, then I guess it's not meant to be.
It's not meant to be.
Right.
Higher and better, whoever's more aligned. Like we're
Right.
very much in that belief, and just know whoever's meant to be a part of this will be a part of this. Whoever's not,
Right. It's okay, but it doesn't mean that you're laissez-faire, because you want to win and you'll do whatever it takes, but you're also not gonna keep running into that same wall every day.
Correct.
And just you're gonna be like, okay, I ran into this wall 3 times. Obviously, I'm not doing something right. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science, and you said in your business, there's enough room on the wheel to ride. You just want to have a little piece of the tire.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're going to run into so many obstacles every day that we talked about this as well, Adam, the resilience piece. Like you have to be able to accept, at some points you fail at something, so be it, and just get back up and you keep going. And that's such a huge piece, just being okay with the like minor failures and just keep going.
Guys, I really appreciate your life perspective. Well, let's specifically talk about the brand. How did you guys come up with flavors? Why did you come up with the flavors that you did? They taste very good, and we'll get into how you guys get a hold of, how you find more about the brand, and more importantly, how you get it in your belly, because it tastes incredible. And guys, anybody who loves ice cream, you got to give this Holi Scoops a try. These ladies have done an incredible job. But talk to me about the flavors and how fun it is to create, and talk about your partners as it goes from R&D and where the brand is now and where you hope it to be in the next, say, 6-7 months.
Yeah. So right now we have 3 SKUs, and they're pretty much like the classics. We have a vanilla, well, our fun names are vanilla being, double chocolate chipper, and conscious coffee to play on the adaptogen piece and the functionality. But we wanted to test out just the flavors that we know everyone loves and will try, rather than starting with like blueberry, balsamic, fig, this, that. We just went for the classics. And now we're in this process of experimenting with the cookie doughs and the cakes and the whatever else there is inclusions wise. And it's a little complicated when it comes to a product that's vegan, keto, gluten-free, no sugar added, because you have to create inclusions, those cookies and cakes that fit within our parameters. And along with that, it gets complicated, but to make it work with the co-packer, that's another issue of its own. So we're really trying to make some fun flavors, and we're in the process of it, but challenging.
Yeah. So Jenna, talk about what's next for the brand, and 6 months to a year down the road. Camille, you were saying that you got into some, you're in Erewhon, and you're, in the Sprouts 100 stores, and just, I guess, talk about where you where we can find you, where we can get in our belly.
Yeah. So by, I think it's next month, right, Camille? Next month. By the end of next month, we will be in all the Sprouts across the country. So upwards of 400 stores, which we're very excited about. So that's a national rollout that we're very excited about and very focused on making that a success. And we really feel like the Sprouts customer is aligned with what we're creating. So we're really excited to reach those people. And yeah, what
The
else?
next 6 months, I would say we really want to figure out this D2C play here. We would
Right.
love, we get DMs all the time. People are asking if we can ship it to them. And so, with frozen, it's just a little more complicated. But we're sorting that out right now. And then I think just, targeting kind of the key accounts that in the natural space that really, fits with our consumer base, and doing so nationally and just trying to reach everyone so everyone can try it.
Right. In your experience in being around a short time, what is the most positive feedback that you get from customers?
I think the consistency piece, right?
Right.
I think with vegan, you're battling iciness, and with keto, you're battling chalky. And so we were like, can we make this a creamy product that reminds you of traditional ice cream? So that was a huge point for us. So whenever we get a compliment like that like makes our day, our year.
Right.
And I also think so many people really resonate with the mindfulness piece and are really like looking, are excited to see that in like their food brands. Our tagline is mindful indulgence, because we don't want you to feel like you're missing out on anything. And we don't talk about less guilt or less of anything. Everything that we do, we want to talk about more, not less. And so I think it's exciting when people really connect to the mindfulness piece of it all.
I really like that because we, for whatever reason, we always associate like sweet as being bad or indulgent as being bad. And it's not bad is not fun.
Yeah.
Also, like, this life is for living and we want you to live. Yeah.
Exactly.
And we don't want you to feel any guilt. That creates all kinds of bad hormones in your body, and then your body doesn't digest it well. So we want you to be in utter balance.
Right, exactly.
And you digest it better,
Yes. Guys, and you touched on this a little bit, but I want to single it out. First, Camille, we'll start with you. We're the CanDo company where life is all about what we can do, not what we can't. And, I don't want to speak for you, but talk to me about your biggest CanDo moment. And I'm sure you've got a handful, but the first one that comes to your mind, and Jenna, you have a few minutes to think about your biggest CanDo moment. Camille, I'm putting you on the spot. What's your biggest CanDo moment?
I think in this journey, I think making that leap to entrepreneurship was always a very scary thing. I constantly come up with ideas and try to put them into action, but then, I'd get a little scared and I'd just return to normal life. But this, for me, doing it and committing to it, but also realizing that there's all these areas of the business I was so fearful of that, I'm not that experienced in, and I didn't necessarily know how to do, that I was able to figure out. And that was such a cool thing and a great feeling to know, like, okay, you can tackle whatever comes your way, even if you're not great at it or you don't think you can do it.
Right. And I think you touched on it too, and I'll touch on it again because I agree, is leaning on other people in the industry. Like, everybody wants to help everybody. And whether you're in the food business or in life, treat your life as a brand and you as a brand, and reach out to people and put yourself out there. because you're not alone. And I commend you both ladies for opening up and sharing, because it's more than just a food product here at Keto Crisp and CanDo, and it's more than just a food product at Holi Scoops. It's about the holistic, and see how much better it's been for you guys because you opened up and you've shared, you put your heart and soul into this. And that's my advice to the listeners out there, is just go for it. Everybody's here to support you. It's not going to be easy, but just go for whatever you want to do and feel proud. It's good. And yes, you're going to have roadblocks along the way, but everybody does. And it's okay, because, tomorrow's a new day. This afternoon's a new day. The next minute is a new minute, So going to you now, Jenna, what's your biggest CanDo moment?
Yeah, I think I second kind of what Camille said about jumping into entrepreneurship, and also like can do hard things. Like I can do hard things,
Yes.
And also I can receive actually, which is something that I really work on. Like, it's very scary to put something out in the world and hope people like it. Oh, are people going to support it? Oh, just like letting people show up for you has been, that's hard in my personal life, and has been hard, professionally too. But
well, when you say letting people show up, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, like in any realm.
I think that's good. I think that's great. And I don't mean to cut you off, but I think that's really cool. And I want you to open up on that. What do you mean?
Whether it's asking for help and letting someone help, or it's
so did you think that you didn't want to
being a face in front of people sharing something has been intimidating for me, and just doing it, right? Even if I have fear around it, I'm showing up for the moment, whether I have fear around it or not.
Right. And I guess it's just being vulnerable and opening
exactly.
up.
That's really what it is.
And just like putting yourself out there. And you're awesome, Jenna. You're awesome. And you too, Camille. So it's great. It's awesome. And listeners out there, you guys are awesome. And I'm not bad either.
You're the best.
Guys, I really, in closing, again, I'm not the greatest podcast host in the world, and I know we were all over the board, but again, my goal is to help one person. And if one person, can take something away, just always continue to know that we're here to support, to know that we're your biggest cheerleaders, and do what's in your heart. And your heart will set you free. Ladies, it's been great. I wish you guys all the success. Before we hang up, though, please tell everybody how to get a hold of you. What's the best way? I'll let you guys have the floor, and then we'll end it. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, our Instagram, we chat with consumers all the time via Instagram at Holi Scoops, HOLI Scoops, and let us know how you like the product. We're, mainly right now it's Sprouts, Erewhon if you're in LA, Mother's Market, Bestie's Vegan, Farm Shop, but those are our spots right now.
Great. Jenna, you have anything else you want to add?
Please, we welcome all conversation, feedback. We really, really welcome it all. Even if it's negative, please, we always welcome any kind of feedback. Okay,
great, guys. It was awesome having you on today. Thank you so much for everything. It's really been awesome. I'm really, really proud of you ladies. I can't wait to have dinner soon. Yes. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Adam.
Love you guys.
Bye. Love ya.
Take care, guys.